All right. The ChatGPT, y'all, that will change your whole dang life. I don't know what I was doing prior to ChatGPT. But good morning. Good morning. Well, I'm so excited to be here today, guys. Obviously, Thursday mornings are my favorite. All of these are my favorite, actually. Do you guys love these Rise and Thrives as much as I do? I didn't realize how much I was going to love these until we started doing these. And you sang it with me. Quick side note, does anybody sing in the morning? I'm not a good singer in any way. Lisa Ann, I believe that 1,000,000% for you. But I started waking my youngest up for school singing the Good Morning song. Anybody know that? From back in the day, what was it, Doris Day?
Oh, my kids have nightmares.
Oh, I'm sure. Good morning. Na, 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 na. Good morning. Good morning to you. I love that song. And for some reason, it enrages my child. It has the opposite effect. He hates it when I start singing to him in the morning. He's like, no. I'm like, oh God, okay. So that doesn't really work out, but I love that song. Okay. Let's jump in. I can't sing at all either, Angie. I do not have a good singing voice, but I do sing, and I do. My oldest son, he'll still let me. Isn't that cute? He'll still let me sing to him in the morning. He's almost 18. And my 9-year-old just immediate rage. He doesn't like it. But my 17-year-old loves it. I'll take it. So I have some fun stuff to talk about today. Well, I guess fun is probably relative. Maybe that's not the best choice of words, but I'm going to talk a little bit about today how to really just one of the things that I've seen coming up. This is common, right? This isn't a brand new issue, but people really having to deal with the criticism in this business and really balancing how to move forward in this business without the level of support that you were really hoping for. This is something that even at my stage in the business, I don't like even the Parkers, they've been in for over 20 years. They're still getting people that don't support their mission, that don't support the growth of their business and what it is that they're trying to do. So how do you make your calling louder than everybody else's criticism? How do you focus more on that than what they're saying? How do you stay really faithful in your calling? Because here's the thing, you're not in this company by random. And I know you heard Alicia talk about that last week. You're not here randomly. You're not in this team randomly. You're not on this Zoom randomly. So how do you stay really faithful and really bold in that, even when other people don't understand it and they aren't supporting it? Sometimes people aren't going to clap for you, just so you know this. And if you've experienced this already, I want you to throw one in the comments. Sometimes people will not clap for you because your courage convicts their comfort. You make them feel very uncomfortable. And the key thing to remember in that is that your calling was never meant to be crowd approved. This is where we often go wrong when we get into this business. We expect a lot of support and approval from the people around us, but it wasn't ever meant for that. Your calling was never meant to be crowd approved. But if God called you to it, then that's exactly where you're supposed to be. If you're heaven backed, you don't need crowd approval. One of the things that I struggled with, and I know I've talked about this before, was being a people pleaser most of my life. When I got into this business, like that was probably the hardest thing for me to move past. Because I was a people pleaser, I would get nauseous due to the anxiety of what somebody was going to say. I'd make a post and I'd about puke because I knew that I was going to hear something from somebody about it, or my brain would be like, what are they saying about me right now? I already know they're talking about me. And I'd head down that trail. I'd be so focused on what other people were saying that I would stifle what I knew that I was supposed to be sharing. And this was a process. I know that you guys have gone through that. Maybe you're right in the middle of that. And when I started really understanding that my calling here was so much bigger than the people that didn't support me, that my ability to move out of the norm was triggering the comfort in them. They didn't like it. It made them feel bad about themselves because I was doing something brave and different, something that was possibly going to change my entire life. And I made a post even this morning about comfort, which is really what everybody looks for in life, right? Everybody's always looking for comfort. When is it finally going to be easy? When are we going to have enough money? When is my health finally going to turn the corner? When are my kids going to be old enough that I can finally get some sleep? When will my kids get out of the house and my husband and I can finally just live the lives we wanted? Right? We spend a lot of our life just looking for comfort. Most people do. So when you do something that doesn't follow the norm, it makes other people very uncomfortable. One of the things that I was looking when I was kind of creating this yesterday was when I obviously, like, again, thinking about the fact that not everybody's going to clap for you because your courage convicts their comfort and why you don't need that. In Eric's GoPro, have you guys read GoPro? If you haven't, put that on your list immediately to get. In GoPro, Eric talks about the shift from amateur to professional. And one of the biggest mindset shifts that he talks about is going from needing approval to needing results. Pros don't look for validation. They move with vision. They know that some people aren't going to get it. A lot of people aren't going to get it, but they don't need them to. Amateurs get stuck needing applause, but professionals get obsessed with impact. So where are you functioning today? Like an amateur or like a professional? Are you still needing that applause from your people? Or are you more obsessed with the impact that you can make? I think it's fitting that our word for convention was impact. That was my word of the year. I had more than one, but that was one of them, was impact. And I thought that was so great when I found out that was the name of the of our convention this year. And it really did get me thinking, because yes, I can repeat the quote. Pros don't look for validation. They move with vision. They know that some people won't get it and they don't need them to. Amateurs get stuck needing applause, but professionals get obsessed with impact. I love that our company's mission is to touch 1 billion lives in 30 years. That's impact. They're obsessed with how many people we can touch in our first 30 years. Do you think our owners are real concerned with a bad review How many people on here have been a little derailed when somebody came to you and said, well, I searched for not, and there was a lawsuit about lead? Did you get up in your feels about it? Or were you more concerned with the impact that you were going to make on others over that one thing, that one area? Don't get stuck needing applause from the peanut gallery. And the peanut gallery is literally every single person that's not fully supporting your journey here. Because they're not going to be the ones to pay your bills anyway. There are lives waiting to be impacted that you don't get to impact if you are worried about the few people who aren't clapping for you. And you're never going to grow to the level that you want to be if you're worried about them. In Matthew 5:14-16, it says, you are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. You don't hide the light you have because it makes somebody else squint, right? You're going to let it shine because somebody else's breakthrough is waiting for that light to shine. Somebody else's breakthrough is dependent on you shining your light, you being loud about what you have, you not being worried about the lack of applause from the peanut gallery. You're here for a reason because there are lives that need to be impacted that only you can touch. I can't touch those people. They're not in my realm. They aren't getting freedom from me, but they will from you. Stop worrying about the lack of applause and start getting obsessed with the impact. Get obsessed. Think about it all day. Write it down. How many lives do you want to impact? How many people do you want to touch? I literally pray for the people I haven't even spoken to yet. Every day, that's one of the things I pray about. Bring the right people into my sphere. Who needs to hear this? Who do I need to reach out to? What other action do I need to take to reach the people that are waiting for me to show up? I actually decided 2 weeks ago to do a 60-day live challenge. And then I got what probably was the Rona. I don't know what it was, but it was awful. I was sicker than I've been in years. 104-degree fever almost every day for almost 6 days. I got zero work done. Not a shred. Now, the best part is everything kept working, running like clockwork, even though Sarah was half dead. So I didn't get to start my live challenge. But every single day I was lying there thinking about it. And I did start it a couple of days ago, finally, when I felt human. And that was the thing that God put in my brain. That was the thing I wasn't doing. I'm sending the messages, I'm ATMing people, I'm in my stories every day. I've got posts going up, I've got reels going, I'm doing all the other things, but I wasn't doing that. And that's the next thing for me that God was like, we need to start doing this and you need to get loud on this level of the platform. There are people that are only going to see me when I go live for whatever reason. And so I'm obedient to that. I don't particularly like to go live. I don't hate it. It just doesn't appeal to me in any way. Just like, that's kind of boring. I don't know. I never know what to say. But that's not a thing that I've been doing. So now I'm going to do that for the next 60 days without fail. I will not go to bed till I've gone live every day for the next 60 days. Because I'm obsessed with impact. And I'm not worried about who's cheering for me. In Galatians 1:10, it says, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. Boy, that kind of hits you in the feels, doesn't it? We're not here to be liked. We're here to be led and to lead. That means you need to obey the thing, even if you feel lonely in it. Even if your friends and family aren't supporting you in it. You still be obedient because you're in this company, you're in this team right now for a reason. God put you here. And if you don't believe in God, that's okay. He still put you here. And we love you so much, and we're so glad you're here. That verse was Galatians 1:10. You're not here to be liked. Stop making that a requirement. Stop waiting for everybody to respond to your messages and give you a bunch of love on a post. Stop it. Because then you keep stopping. Right? You back down. You get in your feels. Well, I posted all week and I got 3 likes. I sent 50 messages this week and only 3 people even responded to me. We get up in our feels. We put a time frame on it. We put an expectation on it rather than just being obsessed with the impact that we know that we can make with these products in this comp plan. Keep doing the things without the support. Now, fortunately for us, we have a lot of support. There's 103 people on this Zoom just this morning. We have thousands of people in our team. You have a lot of support. So don't let the enemy make you think that you're a lone wolf, a lone island out there. Nobody is helping you. Nobody cares. That's a lie. Stop needing so much validation. I needed a lot of validation when I got into this business because, again, I was a people pleaser. And so my obsession was dampened by my own feels because my mom didn't even buy a product. And why is my family not supporting me in this? And why does my husband get irritated when I have Zooms at night? Doesn't he understand? He's not even supporting me. And then I'd get up all in my feels about it. And I'd stop working it towards making an impact because I made it about myself and the lack of applause. Second Timothy 1:7 says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Fear is always going to whisper to you, don't show up. Don't make that post. Don't send that message. But the spirit in you should say, you were made for this. You're in the right place at the right time with the right products and the right company and the right comp plan and the right leadership. You're in the right spot. And you need to stand in that and be bold in that and be loud about that. Don't let the enemy make you feel like you shouldn't be showing up. You need to shut that down. You have absolute 100% control over every single thing that happens in this head. 100% control. You know, I'm just going to tell you, like, please hear me correctly, because I know there are like actual medical things that happen with people. I'm going to tell you right now that even when it came to, I used to have debilitating anxiety. Really, a lot of it was tied into like PTSD. And I had horrific PTSD. that just consumed my brain 24/7. My job was really what did that. And then I had a lot of trauma outside of my job. And so my brain never stopped. And I hated it. And when I started to understand, this was several years into my journey here. When I started to understand how much control I actually had over my anxiety, I just had believed that I was a victim to my own thought processes. Now, please hear me correctly. Sometimes you do need other things to help you with that, okay? I'm not saying that that wasn't the case. I've gone through my period of time of needing medication, and I've gone through an enormous amount of therapy in the last 12 years. But what I started realizing when it came to my anxiety was that I was allowing this to run my life, and I was just using it as an excuse. I allowed this, it will, Sean. I allowed this to be my crutch. I let my anxiety keep me small, which is right where the enemy wanted me. I wasn't going to be able to impact lives if I was just focused solely on what was going on up here, what was happening in my immediate realm. I'm not looking out there to the thousands and thousands of people that are waiting for Sarah to show up. I'm focused here. I'm focused on my current situation, the issues at my job, my psychotic ex-husband who harasses me on the daily. That's where my focus is. And so if I had stayed in that position of not taking ownership over this and allowing the fear and allowing my current environment to run my life, I wouldn't be on this Zoom, and half of you wouldn't be on here either. Think about the lives that you've already impacted just because you've been brave enough to say yes. Do you have one customer? That's a ripple effect. You don't have to have thousands and thousands of people in your realm for you to make an enormous impact. Don't count yourself out if you're not where you want to be yet. And absolutely stop letting this decide how big of an impact you can actually make. You were made for this. That's why you're here. It's not an accident. You're going to end up having people leave your team, stop ordering. People are going to fall away from you relationally. They're going to misunderstand the drive that you have to create an impact. They'll talk behind your back. That's a good sign. Not with everything. But if your growth triggers somebody else's insecurity, you know you're doing the right thing. That's your sign to lean in. When you hit that level of resistance, lean into it, which is exactly the opposite of what you're going to feel like doing. Don't take the easy road. Don't take the quickest way out. Every time somebody doesn't support you, use that as fuel to talk to a new person. Every time somebody, maybe they leave your team, they stop ordering from you, take that as absolute motivation to find somebody else. You're not too much. You're just becoming more. And that's going to feel weird. when you're leaning into that. When you become more, it's always going to make people who are staying the same feel some kind of way. And that's not a reason to shrink. That's a reason to keep growing. If you can really grasp that fact, you will be unstoppable. You keep growing. You keep moving forward. You take the haters, you take the laughers, you take the people who walk away, and you literally use that as fuel. If you have to mentally think about this situation and how it's making you feel, and then think of that as literal gasoline and dump it on the fire inside of you, do that. Whatever you need to do, but use it as fuel. You're going to continue to trigger people that refuse to step outside their comfort zone. That's never changing, guys. Okay? So stop waiting for that part to get better. It's never coming. You don't ever reach a level in this business where that's not a case. So stop waiting for that. Start pushing through it. Start deciding that the people waiting for you to show up and impact their lives are more important than the lack of applause that you're getting from others. You will literally be unstoppable. Your obedience to keep showing up, to keep being bold, to keep shining your light is not just about you. It is literally all about the people who are going to find the freedom through you. Don't stop. Stay lit, stay by the fire, stay loyal to your calling, because again, you're here for a reason, because the world needs you to show up. They do. They don't need Tina to show up or me to show up or Alicia to show up or Lynn to show up. They need you to show up. My section of the world needs me to show up. You have no idea the people that you can impact. No idea. That are just waiting for you to stop being afraid and making it about yourself and making it about where you're not having success. If you can figure out how to make that switch, I'm telling you guys, the sky is the limit. If you can stop caring about the lack of applause and the lack of result, that's almost as important, honestly. We can real get in our feels when you're sending messages for 2 months and no one's saying yes, right? Now, sometimes you need to pivot. Sometimes we need to tweak, right? This is where coaching is very, 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 very important. But sometimes you just need to keep being consistent and keep focused on the end goal, which is impacting as many lives as you possibly can in the short amount of time that we're on this earth. So that's what I have for you guys this morning. But I would love to hear if anybody has any feedback, or even if you don't have feedback, but you want to share a win from this week, I would absolutely love to hear that. Maybe raise your hand, because I feel like sometimes then it gets a little people talking over each other. If you have something you want to share, please raise your hand. Jenna. Oh,
good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to share that yesterday was day 3 on For Her. And anybody who knows me, you would assume I'm a joyful, happy, wonderful person all the time. Okay, so I'll take the wonderful out. After 3 days of taking it, I realized I had been living in a deep, dark, depressed cave. I was I had used the word feeling depressed more in the last year than I've ever used it in my life, except for postpartum. Everything was like, I mean, I used to see the world through rose-colored glasses, and it was just kind of like, man, crap's just falling apart. My world's falling apart. And it wasn't until I had been using this for her for 3 days that I was like, the sun is shining in my brain again, and the birds are singing, and the rainbows are out, and like, where did I go? I am sharing that because I am blown away, and because I know that there are probably millions of women who don't even realize that they are living under that blanket of sadness that is really new to them. Because I'm not a sad person, and I didn't really realize how sad I was. And I'm going to use the word depressed. And then adding the cognitive creatine, it's just like I heard somebody else say, all the tabs in my brain close and I can just focus on what I'm focusing on. And that is a whole new experience. So that's a freaking win. And I just wanted to share it.
I love that. And isn't this so interesting on the perspective? I always just think of you as like this super cheerful, like down to earth person. It never would cross my mind that you were struggling with something like that, which sounds like you didn't even really know that that's what you were feeling. But man,
Right.
isn't that such a good reminder that we just never know what other people are going through, you know? And
Yeah.
how many, like you said, Jenna, how many women desperately need this and don't even know? That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Just in a couple days. I love
Couple
that.
days. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, you just moved up my list. We're going live together.
Okay, let's go.
Thank you for sharing. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Angie. Go ahead, girl.
Hey, all right. So I just want to say that I had a big win just because of consistency. Like, we preach consistency, share it, share it, share it. Even if it's the same thing over and over, share it. Because I had someone who's been watching me for 2.5 years. And I've talked to her. I've talked to her through Messenger many, many times. She finally asked me the other day, tell me more about your products. And I told her, and she's like, I can't buy it right now. And I said, oh, hey, hold on. We have these options. Like, we work with payment plans. I sent her a screenshot of the graphic that Erin made. Thank you for making that training, Erin. And she signed up and bought Activate. Well, she bought the Daily Health and a couple other products. I just sent her a cart. And so never think that you're like doing the same thing over and over, because it's impacting people. And the more they see it, the more they're going to be like, okay, I trust her. I got to do this. So that was a big win for me. And I've been in Messenger. I don't care who you are, I'm messaging you and I'm telling you about for her. And another friend of mine, she was like, oh my gosh, my neighbor is going through hell with menopause. She ordered last night. So you just never know.
Oh, that's awesome. You really don't. You really don't know. You never know. That's where consistency is key. And I love that too. Like, always keeping that door open. You never know when something's going to shift with somebody, whether that's a prospect or even maybe somebody who went kind of inactive in your team. We've all had that. Keep loving on your people, whether they're a prospect or not, because you never know when something's going to shift. You never know. I love that, Ange. That's so good. Larissa, go ahead.
Good morning. So thank you for the message. That was like completely spot on. That message has been literally my reality for 2 years of being with this company. And not so much from like friends or the community, but from my own husband, to be honest. And so I just use that as fuel. Like you said, fuel. To keep going every day, because in his mind, I've always been just that stay-home mom. And it's always been my job to take care of the kids, take care of the house, take care of everything else. And I've never had dreams. But the one thing that I will say is that working on personal development has been so huge for me. Because if I didn't pour into myself and do personal development every day, not having that support from the person who's supposed to have your back, I would have quit a long time ago. Because I don't even have strong leadership from my direct upline. So I literally feel alone. But I've done everything that I can to just reach out and continue asking for help over and over and over again. And I finally have a network of people who's above me, who's like, yeah, we'll work with you. We'll show you the way it's supposed to be. And so I'm so thankful that we can do the sideline, because these people that are helping me aren't even in my upline. But the logistics of my message, sorry, didn't mean to get emotional, but sometimes when you say it out loud, it hurts. But just so thankful. And being at convention, I was able to bring 2 brand new ladies with me, and it was so awesome because they saw the vision. And I was sharing with my mom, I was like, Mom, there are so many moments at convention where I just sat there and just watched them with their eyes light up, and I got teary-eyed so many times, because to see somebody who's done other things like this before, who has quit, to see the light bulb go off of like, holy crap, this is real. Like, these leaders, these people that we see, they're humble, they want to see us win. That was huge. That was a huge moment for me. And being able to introduce them to like so many of the leaders that are even on the line tonight, that was a huge breakthrough moment. So much gratitude. But I love these morning talks, and it's exactly what we need. So thank you.
Yes, I love you, friend. I know sometimes it's really hard. I'll tell you guys, like, even at the previous company Tina and I were in, not only did we have 0 upline support, they were actively sabotaging our businesses. It was brutal. And so sometimes the people that are supposed to support you the most are your biggest haters, which sucks. That's not how it's supposed to be. But like she said, you keep working on your self-development. You keep working on this. You keep focusing on the lives that you are going to impact, and everything pans out the way that it's supposed to. Was it easy? Absolutely not. It was hard. I cried a lot. Tina cried a lot. It was very frustrating. But we're better leaders of it now. If you had told me 4 years ago that I would be sitting here right now, I'd put a time frame on things. So don't put a time frame on your success or on your growth. You just keep working on this, and you keep focusing on the lives that you are going to impact. Just like Larissa said, and you stay close to the fire. It doesn't matter if you're physically a part of this team or not. That's irrelevant. You're a part of this team. And you have support. Everybody on here has support. An enormous amount of support. And just know that. You don't have to have everybody else supporting you to know that you have a lot of support here. And things do shift. They really do. So keep having faith in that. So thanks for sharing. Let's see. Lynn, go ahead.
I just have to say that I did something yesterday. I kind of stepped out a little bit out of my comfort zone without my hubby. Normally we do the Heart of Wisconsin here in Wisconsin Rapids area does networking events every month. Normally him and I go together on the one in the evening, but this one was for women only, for professional women, and I went and I had signed up, and I'm just thinking, okay, and it's funny because they talked about the exact same things that we listened to Andrea talk about at convention.
Oh, good.
And it was, and one of the gals there, I know her personally, and she said to me, she says, I had my protein drink. She says, I didn't know Trinot had protein drinks in a can. I says, well, I says it was brought out at conference and it sold out within a couple hours after that. I says now we're plugging the corporate to bring it back into us and that. But yeah, and she's already with somebody else, and I met new people and talked to them. So yeah, it was a little bit of a stepping out and doing things on my own versus having my support on the other side.
That's a big win. When you're not used to doing something like that, stepping out can be really scary, but that's awesome. I'm really proud of you for doing that. And now you built some new friendships and you never
Yep.
know what's going to happen with that. So that's perfect.
And I added them to my Facebook.
Perfect. That's awesome. Way to go, girl. I'm proud of you. Renee, go ahead.
Hey there, I'm actually not at work, so I could talk. This week has been a challenging week for me mentally. And, one of the biggest things for me is, I always have to like show up for my health every single day. And doing that also, makes me want to go harder with my business because I'm always there to support others because I know what it feels like not to feel supported. And I have my group chats going on, even on those days when I'm feeling like I can't show up, I'm still showing up because I have all these outlets that I have going on. So that's what keeps that needle moving for myself. And it just inspires me to do better because I hear from so many people that I help every single day how much of an impact that I'm making on their life. And this month may not have been as strong as like the last few months that I've had, but I've actually gotten lots of orders on the clear protein. I'm doing I'm like a high protein 15-day challenge where I got a bunch of people that ordered it, so like we have to build up what we want our businesses to be and not wait for it to happen. And so that's what my focus has been. And like I'm not signing associates like I did the last few months, but that's okay. I know it's going to come because building these challenge chats that I have going on, like that's where I've gotten a lot of my associates that have signed up with me these last few months. So, I really appreciate these Rise and Thrive calls because it gets me out of my head sometimes, and it's just what we need to keep on moving forward. So,
no, that's so true. And I love
thank you.
that. Yes, no, I'm proud of you because we all do have those moments, those dips where it feels like especially when you're in a level of momentum, and then it feels like maybe when you hit that cycle where it's like slows a little bit, right? We all go through it, but it's a little scary. And I have found every single time, and I love that you said that, Renee, every single time I start to feel a little freaked out or like it's not working or frustrated, I take an action. And every single time that pulls me out of it, like you said, okay, I'm feeling a certain way. I'm gonna make a post about this. I'm gonna be loud about my own health journey today. I can't not show up because people are waiting for me to show up every day. Taking that action will keep you in a really good mental space. So I love that. Yeah, and there is cycles to the business. There's months I recruit like a boss. And then there's months where it's like, no, not as much. That's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I totally actually got out of my comfort zone last night where, we had our talk about like sharing more about the business.
Yeah.
And I got a flat tire, so I use that as an example for the business. Well, like I would have stressed in the past because I didn't have the money to fix my tire, but I have money in the bank, thankful for my business, and like I'm having conversations based on that. And for me, talking more about the business isn't something that's easy for me. It's easier for me to talk about the health journey. And so that was a big step for me. So thank you for that.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad. It is a little bit of a strange shift when you're not used to really leading with the business, right? How many people on here real quick are more comfortable talking about product? Right? It feels safer. Here's my encouragement. I gave this to Renee and her team last night. I want you guys to make a business post only for every single day for the rest of the month. Business. Put your product stuff in your stories. Make your post this rest of this week about the business. That's going to feel weird for those of you that don't lead with that. You don't know who's waiting for you to show up in a different capacity, guys. I'm telling you right now. Try it. Okay, Selena.
All right, so I try really hard, Sarah, not to talk on these things, but my heart is so full. I'm just overflowing. I manage a team, my day job, I manage a team at a mental health agency. And that team in the agency grew to be the most productive team in the agency. So now I've transitioned to managing 4 other teams. I've left my original, and just this week I transitioned. The crux of the success of that team was celebrating every win. It doesn't matter how big we think it is or how small we think it is, every win is a win. It doesn't take a mark out of the win category. I love that the atmosphere here of celebrating wins. And I'm celebrating and having my own cheering section for everything shared. And I'm like, you guys don't know how big this is. But when you celebrate the wins of other people, your wins, you reap what you sow, and your wins are going to be celebrated. Like every single win, a 1/1000th of an inch forward is still a move forward. You did something, you showed up. And this atmosphere that's created here is amazing. And I just wanted to say that from a non-Trinot perspective, if I can say that, but even from a corporate perspective, celebrating wins, it causes bigger wins. It's
Yes.
that butterfly effect. It's that the smallest flap of a butterfly's wing causing a hurricane somewhere across the globe. Like, we don't even know how far reaching this is. And you add the power of God's word. This is literally the definition of unstoppable. So I celebrated you and your major win at convention. I will continue celebrating every big win and every small win, because the small win is actually a step to the big win. So I'm just overflowing this morning and just glad that my daughter reminded me, put this on my calendar, and I'm here. So good morning to you.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that, because you are 100% right. I love that you said that, because that's one of the things I took away. Really, Eric Worre talks about that a lot. Over celebrate everything. And you don't need somebody else to shout you out, by the way, guys. Celebrate your own wins. Do you know what that does to you inside? Be proud of yourself for showing up on this Zoom, like Selena said. That's a win. You showed up here today. That's a win. Be proud of yourself that you took time out of your morning to do this. Start getting loud about your own wins. I absolutely love that. Yes, girl, that was so good. Thank you. Renee, go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay, so this is just, okay, so I've been in this arena for a while, but I have something to really emphasize on, literally. So everyone has a story, right? And Sarah, I love today, don't get obsessed with the impact, because some people won't understand you, but the right people will, right? The right people will. Be vulnerable, take that step to tell your story. There was something that happened in our community that was very heartfelt to me, but so I've just been reaching out to people, and the community has come together, and that's like, we are here. So just start reaching out to people and just show them your genuine self, and believe me, it'll happen. And I have to say this, I have a win. I got up last night at 9 o'clock and I stayed up to 1:30, and I made my speech presentation for our Human Trafficking and Justice Social Institute conference. So I'm waiting for the results for that. So, and that's my arena. And so just be vulnerable, tell your story. People aren't going to like you. So what's that? Let them go. Just let them. Love you guys.
That's so true. No, I love that. And if you guys don't know, Renee has an incredible story that she is very vulnerable with and does share a lot. She speaks at a lot of different conferences and stuff, sharing her story. She's been through a lot in her life, and I love that. You're so right. There are people waiting for you to share your story, which is why I talked about that at convention, because it was such a big deal. That's been a very impactful part of my success, was just sharing my story over and over and over again. And it takes a real brave person to do that. So I love you, Renee, and thank you for sharing. And I'm glad you got your speech done. That was probably a big weight off your chest. Get that done. So that's really good. I'm so proud of you. Thanks for sharing. Okay, go ahead, Patty.
Hey, so I just you know that I had gone through a little emotional, mental, didn't stop me from doing the work, putting the work in. But I'd made a post, I think it was on Monday, about where I was mentally, where my mental health was with everything that I'd been going through and whatnot. And I had said in it basically that I know others are going through this, or have similar feelings. If you need to talk, I'm here. We can, bounce stuff off of each other. I had over 100 people reach out to me. That, and out of the 100, every single one of them have lost a sense of community. And so I just kind of like, yes, I've been going through this, and yes, I've lost a lot of friends, and I've lost family members, and da 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 da. But I know I can always reach out to somebody within my business to have a sense of community. So what we're doing is we've all exchanged phone numbers to where we can reach out to each other, send, hey, I'm thinking of you today. How's everything going? Do you need anything? And not necessarily that they will be joining the business, but now they all have their eyes on me more than before. So that's a really big thing for me. And I want to say that I will be, hate saying this number, I'll be 66 next month. And I know it's like, oh my God, I hate saying that number. Because I keep telling my husband that I'm going backwards. But anyway, I've taken for her 2 nights in a row. And for me, I slept really good last night. And not that I don't sleep good anyway, normally, but there was no tossing and turning, none of that stuff. And I literally feel today, I feel really mentally clear. Now, I haven't taken it yet. I'll probably take it again tonight. I may take it later this afternoon. I don't know. After I talk to you, it's like, okay, well, whenever I eat, I'll just pop it. Yeah. So, yeah, that was really huge for me. And I really, truly believe over the last few years that being in full-time menopause, because I did not realize that once you start, you never stop. I think that that's what's really been taking a mental toll on me.
Yeah.
Because I have good days and I have bad days. And so I'm like really tracking everything. So my plan is to start doing, I want to start doing lives, but I want to talk about where we are in age. And if you feel this way, this is what I have found is helping me, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting that it really made me go back and think, when did I start going downhill mentally? So, and it all has to do with, this, as you guys call her, the unwelcome party cat.
Yeah, the mean girl no one invited to the party. I actually know that from Kathy.
And I mean, my husband will be the first one to admit in the last 5 years, I've just been mean as hell. He doesn't know who's waking up in the morning. Yeah. And I told you that when we did the live. He doesn't know if it's going to be Happy Patty or Badger Patty. He has no clue. So I'm just praying that this is going to help. So, but anyway, yeah. So I realize that more and more women are going to need this product. So I'm going to start sharing my daily on it and how I feel and the differences I've noticed in a life.
I
So
love that. Yeah. I love that, Patty. And I was just going to say, you got to be loud about that. You know, just like Jenna, she didn't even realize that that's how she was feeling till she didn't feel that way anymore. You
Yeah.
realize that's how you were feeling. And now you're starting to feel the shift. How many people do we know struggling? Like,
and
I
I didn't
love
even
that.
realize that it's because of.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Thought that, you know, I'm just turned into a moody little bitch.
Well, we still love you, Patty. So.
I know. Thank God. So, but yeah, that's what I have to say.
I love that.
All
No,
right.
keep being loud about that. I love that because I know, like, and I think because you already talked about it publicly, keep taking people on that journey because now they're invested. You
Yeah.
talked about where you were struggling. Now you can start saying, just in the last few days, I'm noticing a shift. You know, like I love that. I think
And
that's
I even did a live the next day talking about how many people reached out to me and that there's more and more,
good.
you know, in this mental space. And I said, I invite you to go on a journey with me to get my mental, physical, and emotional health back.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I talked about, you know, exercising at the barn, doing when I do my stuff at the barn, how I can incorporate my exercises there and how I'm eating healthier. And so that's kind of where I'm going to go, and I'll trickle in the products.
Yeah.
Because if I do it all about the products right away, I know my people, they'll like, gone.
Yeah. Most people won't, but yeah. No, I love that. I think that's great. Keep us updated on how that goes. But
Thank you.
I think that's so good. I love it. I loved all the things this morning, guys. Thank you for everybody who shared. Thanks for hopping on with me. I have a welcome call starting in 1 minute, so I have to pop off here. But don't forget that Alicia's doing one of these tomorrow morning too. Same time, same Zoom link. These are incredible. They're by far my favorite thing I do throughout the week. I also tonight, this is my plug. I'm doing my 100 conversation power hour again. I've taken a few weeks off of that because we were doing some other things, but we're going to be doing that now at 7:00 tonight, not this Zoom link. Okay. I will get the graphic posted in the team page and I'll get it sent out to the chats. 7 p.m. Central Time is 100 message challenge. It's really fun. We play some music, send some messages, we say hi to our friends. It's so much fun. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for hopping on. Please know you can reach out with any questions, thoughts, concerns, all of the things. Know my inbox is always open for you all. And I hope you have a phenomenal Thursday. Let's take these last 5 days and turn it up. Don't get distracted. Don't get derailed. Who cares who's shouting and yelling and applauding for you? Let's just do the dang thing. Talk to the people. Let's close this month strong. I love you guys. Have a good day.